Hi, everybody. It's John from Bill and Paul's with another edition of What's Blank Wednesday. You'll notice I am not in the store and I'm not dressed like I'm going to sell you something today. We want to let you guys know we started these this spring as a way of introducing cool products in the store, but also cool things happening in the West Michigan outdoor community. And today I am joined by a friend of mine, Mark Van Togeren, the founder and owner of Michigan Adventure Racing. Morning, Mark.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what a wonderful morning to come out and shoot this, right?
It's pretty amazing now.
So I'm excited because Mark holds these really cool races called Adventure Racing. Tell me a little bit about why you founded Michigan Adventure Racing and a little bit about how you would define adventure racing.
Sure. I discovered adventure racing back in the early 2000s. Really fun sport. And then in 2011, decided to start putting them on full time. I was kind of stuck in a job I didn't like. And so, yeah, it's been great to introduce people to the sport and see it grow.
You're a great race director. You hold wonderful events. So let's say I'm new to adventure racing like I was about 5 years ago. How would you describe an adventure race? Or
Sure.
what's different than some other types of races?
Yeah, so for most people know what a triathlon is, so I think that's a good way to kind of compare it to a triathlon. You have three different sports involved, really. You've got mountain biking, you've got kayaking or canoeing, and then you've got trail running, sometimes off trail, sometimes on trail. Big difference, though, is you have to figure out how to get from one checkpoint to another. So there's no signs telling you where to go. You've got a map, you've got a compass, which sometimes you use, but often you don't need it. And you use that map and compass to get from one point to the other. Also, it's in teams. So it's not a relay, it's not individual for the most part. You can do solos, but that team aspect is also pretty unique and makes it a lot of fun.
So the navigation section is referred to as orienteering, which I think is a really cool element to throw into a race. My experience was I was ready for a point-to-point. I'm going to be faster than the next person and finish this race, and I'm going to win. And it's nothing like that. It's about getting around, finding these things in the woods, seeing how many punches you can get, and most importantly, finishing before
the cutoff. Yeah, so you've got to get as many checkpoints as you can before whatever the cutoff is, whether it's 4 hours or 12 hours.
So my first race, I got a little exhausted, I got a little tired, I was a little frustrated because I didn't understand the sport. Would you give a couple of pieces of advice to people who are thinking about doing this and maybe for the first time?
Yeah, so people are really intimidated about it because no one really knows adventure racing, and people think they're going to get lost in the woods for long periods of time. And the reality is you might not be able to find every checkpoint out there, and you might have to move on to another one. But that is allowed in our races, is that these checkpoints are optional. The other thing I think a lot of people get worried about is, am I going to have to be running and biking and canoeing the entire 4 hours or 12 hours? And that seems impossible to people. And really it is to almost all of us, right? We all need time to breathe and recover. And that's what's great about adventure racing is you have to do that because you've got to get a compass bearing. You've got to stop to get a checkpoint and punch your scorecard or passport. You're switching from biking to canoeing to on foot. And you're doing a lot of hiking rather than running on foot, which is probably the thing that scares the people the most. So lots of good little mini breaks to keep you going.
Yeah, that's exactly the truth. I found good nutrition to keep your energy levels up, and then obviously you don't want to be so gassed that you can't think because there's a lot of mental part to this, I think. So, which makes it a fun discipline. I've had a blast. I would encourage a lot of people to come out and give this a shot. So you run a couple of adventure race events every year. What's on the docket for summer 22?
Yeah, so we have an event out at Muskegon State Park on May 21. Gorgeous place to do a race. Great dunes, great views, great terrain. We'll have 2 weeks before that, here at Seaman Park, we'll have a navigation clinic to help people actually go out and practice. And then later in the fall, we'll have a more wilderness-based race at Cabernet Peaks in the Manistee National Forest. That'll be probably a 5-hour race and a 12-hour race.
So as a racer, I would encourage you guys to try that Muskegon race. Geographically, it's close to West Michigan, and it isn't so spread out. But for those of you that want some adventure, definitely get the Cabernet date on the calendar. It's an amazing huge area, and Mark is a mad scientist, race developer. So you'll get to see parts of the center of Michigan that you probably would never find on your own. So a lot of adventure in the adventure race up at that one.
Yep.
Thanks so much for. Oh, I wanted to mention why we're out here in Seaman Park in County. This is kind of a unique. There's a unique element to this park in particular for adventure racing. What is that?
Yeah, so we have what's called a permanent orienteering course out here. So there are posts out here on hills and in gullies, place that define terrain that you could maybe see on a map more easily. And people can actually download a map from our website and go out here and practice orienteering using a map and compass on their own, which is great.
What you should do, I highly recommend learning how to orienteer a little bit before you start one of these races. It'll make them a lot more fun. So, well, Mark, thank you so much for sharing your love of the outdoors and adventure racing with West Michigan. You guys come on out, take advantage of Mark's events. They're phenomenal. He does one in the wintertime that's really fun. It's got a lot of gamey type things in it as well as the actual racing. So I think that one's pretty cool. If you have questions, you can stop in, find me at the store. Some of the other staff members have done it, and there's a growing community of adventure racers in West Michigan that would be more than happy to share their love of the sport with you guys. So until next Wednesday, thanks so much. We'll see you soon.